All right, I don't know if you guys saw this morning, but this Twitter account, Unusual Whales, that honestly I've never seen before, put up a tweet and said Japan is considering regulating the market for Pokemon cards per Bloomberg. So that was something interesting to wake up to and see. Unusual Whales, it's a stock options, crypto market news tools account, Polymarket partner, Discord, more. So I guess if you're into like day trading and all that kind of stuff, crypto, I don't know. So Unusual Whales posting that about Pokemon cards is actually low-key kind of crazy. 1 million views on that. Japan is considering regulating the market for Pokemon cards per Bloomberg. So like, it was like maximum vague posting. So I wake up and I have a look. I saw Peak Hobby. I despise this account. This is just one of those like bot, just whatever. I hate these stupid accounts on Twitter. You can never keep them down, but I've searched Bloomberg Japan here, right? But you go to Bloomberg and it says the home of Pokemon is considering regulating the booming trading card market as soaring valuations fuel counterfeiting and money laundering. See why the rise of $1 million Pokemon card deals is proving problematic for Japan. You click that and I think this is going to tell me to give them money. So I didn't give them money. Or is it going to load? Oh my God, it loaded. Nope, it loaded for a second and then they said, give me money. Well, it doesn't matter because if you go to Dexerto, they also made a post about this, right? Japan is launching a government team to fight scalpers and fake cards in popular card games. They're talking about the same thing, but they're two different things because Unusual Whales post, if we go back to it, Unusual Whales post was about regulating the market. Bloomberg's was about regulating the booming trading card market. And this one from Bull Theory, a lot of them reporting just this vague posting, like they're going to regulate it. They're looking at controlling it, right? But that was really it. If you go to Dexerto's article, right? Dexerto's article references Kyoto News, right? We're going to get into a lot. There's a lot to go through, but I'm starting from the top. Okay. Dexerto's article references Kyoto News, and in that article they say lawmakers from Japan's Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP, are preparing to launch a parliamentary group focused on the country's rapidly growing trading card industry. The group will hold its first meeting on July 23, where lawmakers will hear from industry organizations and Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry about the biggest issues facing collectors, stores, and card companies. The Japanese government begins anti-scalping crackdown. The article continues and it kind of just talks about the popularity of Pokemon cards and then talks about some instances where people stole 95,000 worth of cards and some other stuff that happened in South Korea, but it's not really relevant to the article. It's kind of just like filler. So they didn't really go too deeply into it. From what I can imagine, Bloomberg's article is probably the same thing. It's just a whole lot of vague posting. So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. If you go on Twitter, you're going to keep probably seeing this. It's going to keep popping up. Japan is going to regulate cards. Japan is potentially regulating graded cards. You know, a whole bunch of stuff about Japan regulating cards and Japan stopping scalpers. But what the hell does that actually mean? What are they actually doing? You know, even if I click here, Japan lawmakers form group to fight trading card scalping and fakes. This same, you know, Grok, is this real? Grok, is this true? Same little blurb. It's the same, just vague posting, right? So without being the vague posting king, what does this actually mean? Okay, well, I went digging, right? And I wanted to find what the source of this information was, right? I went to Kyoto News. Kyoto News didn't actually pop up with, you did it again. Didn't actually pop up with the article, but I did manage to find it on LiveDoor, and it was also posted. I mean, it's sourced here from Kyoto News. Yahoo Japan News, you'll often see, if you read Japanese news or you try to keep up to date, they kind of just like collate a whole bunch of news and articles that come from different newspapers, basically, or different news sources like Asahi Shimbun or Yahoo themselves or Kyoto or NHK, right? And so this is the same article, right? I've got a whole bunch of tabs open, but these two are the same articles, right? They both come from Kyoto, right? I have read through these articles. I think just in the effort of sharing the information with you guys, it makes more sense to just hit translate. I could just translate it for you, but that's just going to be kind of clunky. And I've read it in Japanese and then I've read the translation. I'm like, yeah, they're basically saying the same thing. So it's low-key chill. So translating this article to English, this is the source of the information where a lot of these news accounts are like Bloomberg, Dexerto probably getting the information from. So a group of LDP lawmakers have decided to establish a parliamentary league group to promote the expanding trading card market. So key verbiage there is lawmakers. LDP lawmakers have decided to establish a parliamentary group, right? It's not actual lawmakers themselves. They haven't actually introduced any laws or regulations or legislation. They've just at this point presented their concerns to the Diet in Japan, right? They're presenting it at this point. It's all very early. This happened in like the last 2 or 3 days, right? Their aim is to establish rules in response to the emergence of problems such as the distribution of counterfeit goods and bulk purchases for resale purposes. The representative of the group is former Election Strategy Committee Chairman Seiji Kihara. The inaugural meeting will be held on the 23rd, where they will hear about the current situation and challenges from industry associations, which is a very important thing. Those industry associations are actually really interesting. And there's a little bit that's happened there that's made this whole situation kind of murky, right? And the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. This was revealed by sources on the 21st. So the rest of the article is kind of just fluff, the same way as the Dexerto article was as well, and those little snippets that we saw from Bloomberg. The parliamentary group will move forward with discussions to improve the trading environment, which has previously been left to individual stores and businesses. They aim to position it as part of the content industry, ensuring transparency and supporting overseas expansion. All right, so a lot of words, still low-key, like a lot of vague posting. So what is this group? Well, if we go over to Twitter, right, we will find the group. So the group that has been established is the Japan Trading Card Association. They're calling themselves the JTCA, passing on the official trading card culture to the next generation, creating a safe and secure market, promoting culture, regional collaboration, education, and player development, international outreach. Will this affect my PSA 10 slab? No. I think your PSA 10 slab is going to be fine. Alrighty. So, they're obviously all their tweets are in Japanese, right? Because they are a Japanese-based association / group. Their first few tweets, just going through, is kind of just them talking about what their goals are and what they want to do in the space, right? So I'm just going to hit translate and everything for you guys. Like I said, I've read through all this and it's like low-key kind of chill. The Japan Trading Card Association has opened its official account. We are committed to the healthy development of trading card culture through creating a safe and secure market, promoting culture, collaborating with local communities, and nurturing the next generation. We will be sharing information about the association's activities and trading card culture in the future, so please follow us. Will this affect Logan Paul's collection? Well, look, I honestly, at this stage, I don't know what it's going to affect. Right? It's hard to say what it will affect without fully talking about and explaining what it is they're exactly trying to do. And also who the people are behind the JTCA, right? Because if these are just like random people, right? Let's just say it's me and, 5 guys that I know that like Pokemon cards. And we're like, guys, we're taking a stand. We need to regulate Pokemon cards. We can't have rip and shippers getting stock backdoored from whoever and getting cards to open for sets 3 months early, right? It's got to stop. Or, we've got to stop Target and Walmart getting botted. We've got to stop the Pokemon Center getting botted, right? Guys, Coach was right. So if we just get like 5 guys like that off the street out of nowhere to say, guys, we got to make a change. We can be the change we want to see in the world. And then we somehow get in front of the Diet and Parliament in Japan and say or like in our relevant countries like Australia, and we're like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to fix Pokemon cards forever. Not a whole lot of swing. We're just 5 guys with a dream. But if the group that gets together to try and influence how Pokemon cards are treated in a country actually come from different businesses or corners of the space where they actually are already quite established and they have a lot of capital and they already have a lot of influence, then potentially, right, if they know the right people and they can get in front of the right people, right, and pitch their pitch strong enough to convince the government to actually legislate some of these changes, then they potentially will be able to impact the market to some degree. And that is the big fear that I'm seeing from a lot of Japanese Pokemon card collectors on Twitter, on YouTube, is that this group doesn't actually have Pokemon card collectors and players' best interests in mind. They have most likely their best interests in mind. And as we dive deeper into who the JTCA potentially are and who they are trying to influence or who is backing them, right, and where they're getting influence and direction from, you're going to see why it's potentially a problem. So to answer the question of whether this will impact Logan Paul's collection or not, well, if something like this happens, right, and they do manage to get in front of government and legislate in their favor and not to the favor of Pokemon card collectors and players in Japan, then what we might find inadvertently is interest in Pokemon cards might collapse, or it might just be a thing where all the regular people or the established collectors or regular people that are just trying to get into Pokemon, established collectors that have been here for a long period, basically people that aren't just into the whole buy, grade, flip kind of thing, they might get turned off and be like, yeah, you know what? Pokemon cards aren't what they used to be anymore. I'm not really interested anymore. And if that happens all at once, where like 50% of the card collecting space just decides to dip and check out, sell their collection and move on to some other hobby, yeah, you may see a sell-off, which causes a bubble, well, which causes the bubble to pop, right? I still don't understand what they can actually do. Okay, so we'll keep diving further, right? So JTCA, they have a few tweets here. The account popped up on the 22nd or 21st of July, and they basically were like, thank you for all the follows. You were going to follow everyone back, but we didn't. I've got auto translate on. So they're, like I said, they're tweeting here in Japanese, but I've just translated it to English for you guys. Okay. First main important tweet that they posted here. To all card shops and trading card relating companies nationwide, we will be setting up an inquiry form and seeking companies willing to participate in collaboration and information sharing to promote the development of the entire industry. We hope to build a healthy and sustainable market together and create a brighter future. Your cooperation would be greatly appreciated. Hello, Benko. Good to see you. So all their tweets have like this same kind of vibe to it. Like, we hope to build a strong environment for Pokemon card trading. We want to protect Pokemon card collectors. We want to, make sure that the next generation can enjoy Pokemon cards. They tweet like that in all of them, right? So they said that they've opened up inquiries for companies willing to participate in collaboration and information sharing. Basically potentially trying to get money, like you're saying, Sokatua there, or get more industry, not so much influence, but maybe they want to like hear more from card stores, maybe hear their concerns and see how maybe the JTCA can assist them, right? It is lobbying, right? Best explanation to say they're a lobby group. Yeah, they put this out, and then I didn't see this, right? But on their website, right, if we go to it, so going to their website, they basically nuded it, right? Because if we go to the top here, oh, you guys can't see it, Sankagigyo, right? If we go to the top and we click that to see you can see here, right? Their list of Sankagigyo, which is just people or companies or groups that are cooperating with them, right? And participating with them. It's changed to coming soon, right? But before today and yesterday, so when the site initially went up, there actually was a list of participating companies and groups listed on the website. And all of them, I guess, yeah, the word to use is problematic. All of them were low-key problematic from the perspective of Japanese Pokemon card collectors, right? Now, some of them we were talking about before, but if you have been around the channel for a long time, yeah, Kaigus basically hit the nail on the head. One of them was Magi, right? Card Rush weren't on the list, but one of them was Magi. And a lot of Japanese Pokemon card collectors will know that Magi had a bit of an influence, I guess. Magi is this card store, which if you've been to Japan, you probably would have seen them or visited them. They do have a store in Nipponbashi. They've got a store in Akihabara as well. They have a few, actually. Basically, Magi were heavily involved with influencing the Pokemon card market during 2022 to 2023, that whole hype period where they were offering really high buyback prices, and their buyback prices would go viral on Twitter. People were saying this is ridiculous, who's actually buying it for this? But by doing so, they were like inadvertently or directly raising the market price or market floor price for Pokemon cards in Japan. So they were basically pumping it. They're saying like, we're going to buy the Miriam SAR, if you guys remember from all the way back at the start of SV. We're going to buy it for like 100,000 yen. And everyone was like, what the hell? But then that kind of like set the floor. It's like, well, Magi's buying it for 100,000 yen, so you can't sell it for anything less because they're actively buying it. But whether those buys are actually happening or not is a whole different story. So Magi have a bit of a checkered history on social media amongst Japanese Pokemon card collectors. It goes a lot deeper than that, but that's like the surface level kind of take with it, right? Especially any store in Japan that does Oripa and now has moved their Oripa to basically digital Oripa, where you're still doing Oripa, but you can do it on your phone or you can do it on the website. Oripa has a really negative sentiment in Japan amongst collectors. There are a lot of people who love Oripa, and I guess I should clarify or explain to you guys that don't know what Oripa is. Oripa is just Japanese mystery packs. I'm sure you guys have seen the plethora of different mystery pack apps and stuff on Instagram. Oripa has been around since fucking forever, right? Japanese Pokemon card collectors really dislike Oripa, most of them. But there are a lot of people that are just like absolute. It's the same as it is overseas. We don't like mystery packs here. We don't like GameStop power packs. We think they're kind of like, they just promote basically child gambling. They promote gambling. Gambling is a really big problem. We don't like it. But there are a ton of people that love gambling, so there are people that like them too. So JTCA removed their participating business groups, right? This is jumping ahead, which triggered a very interesting response from Japanese users on Twitter. And you will see they actually got community noted from Japanese Twitter. So this is really funny. I'm going to hit show translation for you guys. To all of you, thank you very much for your many valuable opinions. Our association will continue to engage in activities with the aim of promoting trading card culture and ensuring the healthy development of the industry as a whole. Trading cards are a culture, a community. See, this is like a lot of fluff words, right? A community that connects people and content that Japan can proudly present to the world. We will pass on that culture to players, collectors, and future generations who will encounter trading cards, ensuring it can be enjoyed safely and with peace of mind. Yes, even in Japan, they use the word community. For the community, right? That's the biggest dog whistle word. And content that Japan can proudly present to the world. So a lot of this has kind of stemmed from, because I read another article, right, where they kind of spoke about how cryptocurrency and Bitcoin low-key originated in Japan, and then Japan failed to like foster it and let it grow, instead regulating. Don't quote me on this, right? And didn't like really get on top of it when they had a really good opportunity to make Japan the home of cryptocurrency, right? And then Japan would then be able to use whatever funds they could gather from not so much regulating it, but like letting it foster and grow in their country, right? Rather than them doing that, they kind of like fumbled the bag, and then cryptocurrency, the home of it, at least as far as I'm aware, is basically the US now. Japan's trying to avoid a situation where they fumble the bag on trading cards again. Even though I think the cat's kind of like out of the bag with trading cards and it is its own thing now, it's almost like this is an effort by them to kind of get a hold of it before it grows even further out of control. Because the situation is quite out of control in Japan with the potential, there's talks of money laundering. You've got the influence from China and Vietnam, whatever's going on there, right? And there's a lot of weird shit going on there. There's a lot of negative sentiment towards Vietnamese and Chinese people because of what's going on there, that coming to Japan, people coming from those countries to basically abuse and capitalize on Japanese Pokemon cards, right? So they're trying to like get a hold of it, right? And stop it and try to make some money off of that so that it's not just these random groups from all over the world or even in Japan capitalizing on it, right? So like what the JTCA are low-key presenting isn't all that bad, but it's kind of a bit of a facade because as you dive deeper onto who they are, it gets a little bit more sus. So this is the tweet where they said they removed the associating companies, right, that are backing them or that they're working with, right? Due to the timing of this announcement coinciding with the founding general meeting of the Parliamentary League, this is going to sound really long in the tooth because it's translating from Japanese to English, which tends to happen. Our association's website is still partially incomplete. That's not true because they removed it, right? It was there, but then they took it out. We are currently working with many companies and organizations and are progressively updating the content. Event information and the list of participating companies are also currently being finalized. So please be patient while we work to make them available. We will strive to make the website more comprehensive and user-friendly for everyone. Thank you for your continued understanding and cooperation. So when they put this tweet up, a whole bunch of Japanese Twitter users were like, hold up. You guys are saying you're for the community. This is basically the best way to put it, right? You guys are saying you're for the community, but the groups that you're working with are not for the community. This is like if I said, I am for the community, and then you all of a sudden saw me working with, I don't know, I'm doing like ripping ships on whatnot, okay? That's the basic equivalent. Saying like, I'm for the community. I love the community. And then the next thing you see, I do a collab with something I don't like, which is like whatnot. And I'm doing ripping ships, okay? And I'm just all of a sudden a ripping shipper. There'd still be people that would be like, I still enjoy JLove's content, so I'm going to watch it. But you can trust me as far as you could throw me basically after that. It kind of all goes out the window. Or if I started selling Milky bags, right? Now, I don't want to turn this into like, I mean, like you guys know the drill, right? I don't want to turn this into like, this creator's sellout, that creator's sellout, but I probably should use a better example because now people are saying basically twice baked Jake, but you guys know the drill. When you see that, you're like, cool, man, another sellout. It's the same kind of thing. So this Twitter user was just like, are you sure the participating companies are okay? They're doing things like buying and selling on resale boxes and causing scandals. And so, they posted a couple of examples, which I actually didn't know, right? Where Cardon was selling one-piece booster boxes above retail. But like a lot of LGSs kind of do this now. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. They can say like, it's this weird blurred line, right? Because Cardon is like a very well-respected card store in Japan, right? That's like pretty player focused, but in the same breath, they're selling very, very high demand booster boxes of Japanese One Piece sets for above market. Sure, they're doing a whole lot as well in store to promote and grow with players, right? Maybe in terms of having like good single prices, or they run tournaments and stuff, which you'll see a lot of LGSs do in the West as well, in the US, Australia, Europe, right? But while they're doing that, they're also taking advantage of the hype market and selling booster boxes at market price. So it's this really gray line where they're doing one good thing, but then they're doing this other thing that's really shitty, you know? Shields and Lapas are all that's left. Yes, that's true. I don't know what that means. If we go and have a look, community note was on that other tweet, was on this tweet and not the other tweet. But this community note is really interesting, right? It's really funny. So we're going to translate it for you guys. So it is important to note that the list of participating companies that was available was deleted around 1 a.m. on July 23rd. A spreadsheet compiled by volunteers listing the participating companies can be found here, which is this spreadsheet here, right? Which is really funny. Someone's actually gone and is like, cool. We are keeping the receipts and we are tracking the stores that were involved in this before it gets wiped off of the internet. It's really funny, right? A tweet pointing out the deletion can be found here. So if we open this up, Uma Pong says, Nanka, somehow the list of participating companies that I could see just a few hours ago seems to have completely disappeared, but it might just be a glitch on my end. So could everyone take a look and see? And so there's some screenshots here. Bun Happy. I've never heard of these. Roru Happy. Gun Happy. I've honestly never Gundam. Okay, that's Gundam. That's Disney. Oh, that's Lorcana. That's Bandai card game. One Happy. I've never heard of this Happy chain. Is it Happy Star? I've actually never heard of this chain, right? If you've heard of them, let me know. Happy, happy, happy. Dun, 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 dun. Happy, 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 happy. It's a Mercard store owner subsidiary. Okay, there you go. There's a lot of subsidiary stuff happening here. This is owned by that, and this guy's involved with this company. This is a list of the stores that were cooperating and participating with the JTCA. It was on their website, but then it got removed at about 1 a.m. on July 23rd. It is important to note that the manufacturers such as Bushiroad are not included, and companies used for distribution such as Macari are also not on the list. It has also been pointed out that information about the representatives has been deleted. Oh, that's why I didn't see it on the website, but I did see it in Kuzumochi's video. Okay, that's crazy. In addition, it is important to note that this is the Japan Trading Card Association, not the Trading Card Game Association. Wait, Tomohappy is I didn't know Tomohappy opened up a card store. What the fuck? You stop watching this guy on YouTube for like a year or two, and then all of a sudden he opens up all these card stores. I did not know that. Thank you, ZD. The community note specifically mentioned Bushiroad is really interesting. There's an ex-employee that used to work for Bushiroad that left around about 2018 or 2017, I think. He got into a lawsuit. It was like a lawsuit involved. I think Bushiroad tried to sue him or something, and then he's creating his own card game. I can't remember his name, but he's prolific on Japanese Twitter. A few months ago, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a tweet about the Pokemon Company Japan working to fix the whole issue with distribution in Japan, and how they'd kind of worked out that there were some stores that were receiving distribution that were directly sending that product and those stock in those cases overseas, and they weren't actually hitting the card stores. The Pokemon Company Japan worked that out and then punished those stores by cutting them off from distribution. The person who spoke about that in depth was this ex-Bushiroad employee, and I just cannot remember his name or his account. If you've got it, let me know. But basically, them community noting this and specifically mention that Bushiroad's not included and Macari are not included is really sus, is because those, like, if this is the Japan Trading Card Association that's trying to represent all of Japan, you would think that it would work closely with the actual manufacturers of the games and the cards themselves, and not just these random card stores. Well, they're not so random, which we're going to find out, right? Because some of the card stores here, Adore Marin, I don't know who that is. I feel like I will know it if I see it. There's Magi, Todeka Lounge. So if you guys have been to Akihabara and you know the store Trading Card Lounge, that's Todeka Lounge, which is like kind of sus. So have any of you guys been to Trading Card Lounge in Akihabara? Quick show of hands. Faded Angel, I've been. Franco, yeah. What was your vibe when you went to Trading Card Lounge? Your average player over on YouTube says yes. Proudly? I don't know. Proudly? Akihabara is just a scam? It isn't, it isn't. It's too formal. Nick Red Leader, I've been there. Do you guys want to see what it looks like inside? I'll see if I can show you. I wonder if my computer will explode if I do this. Valuable Card Tokyo is a tourist scam shop, way overpriced. Sharko, very astute of you to notice that, because they are on the list as well. And one of the people involved with Valuable Card Shop in Akihabara and another store is involved with a bunch of other really funny groups too. It's actually It's all quite hilarious. The further and further you dive into it, we're going into the depths here. We're going into some serious footage here. Actually, I think I remember the day I went. Here we go. We found it. I have a good memory. This is from a yet to be completed video. Who knows when this video is going to be completed? Play. I can give you guys a little bit of a... I don't know if this is going to crash my computer, but you guys can see the kind of stuff that's in Valuable Card Tokyo. So this is Valuable Card Tokyo. It doesn't look like this now. This is what it used to look like. Probably looks very different now. I mean, it's the same kind of... It's the same store, but it's probably got a bit of a different layout. And the cards are probably nowhere near as bountiful as they were from this recording, because this was from May in 2025. My computer is going into overdrive right now. So you can see this store here, right, has so much stuff, like they had a lot of vintage, like old back vintage. They didn't have so much E-series vintage, but you can obviously see here, they have like a bucket load of vintage. Is it the Vanguard producer that got fired by Bushiroad in 2019? I'm pretty sure it is, yeah. I found a Trainer Mag set for cheap there randomly. What year was that? This is all old back stuff. I don't think there'd be any of this stuff left now. Like, just no chance at all. If you're wondering why like an Electrode is 9,800 yen. Not old back, sorry. I meant to say no rarity. This is all no rarity. Yeah, if you're wondering why like a Nido King is like $1 bajillion, they're all no rarity. It's crazy to see one store have so much no rarity, right? Do you guys think it's kind of weird to have one store, to see like one store just have so much stock? Like, have you guys ever considered like how can one store just have this much? Like, think about it. If let's just say like these Raichus, for example, right? 200,000 yen, and there's like 5 of them there, right? Between 98,000, between 10,000 and 300,000 yen, right? There's 5. In Australian dollars, that's probably like 8,000 Australian dollars. In US dollars, that's probably like 6,000 USD. So just in this image alone, right? You're looking at 6,000 USD worth of cards. All right. So then zoom out and look at the entire cabinet, right? And that's just the Raichus, okay? Surely just in this cabinet alone, you're looking at like $3-4 million worth. Like in one cabinet, surely you're looking at close to like at least $1 million, right? Is that too much? Is that too much of a stretch? Like, is that a stretch to say? It's not so much that there's something funky. I don't want to be like tinfoil hat, something funky's going on. But what it suggests is that whoever owns this store or whoever is involved in this store has a bucket load of capital, right? So without jumping too far between timelines and stuff, right? Because I do want to stay on track, right? Some of the other stores here, Card Shoppo Hachi, I don't know who that is. Kabushiki Kaisha Cardon, that's Cardon, Vintage Card Japan, and Valuable Card Tokyo, both having ties to Yamakoma Asset Bank. Yamakoma Asset Bank, right? Remember that name, guys. Yamakoma Asset Bank. Tokyo Fab, haven't heard of them. Ban Happy, Roru Happy, Gun Happy, One Happy, Poker Town. Hey, they got Poker Towns in Japan as well. I haven't been there. Card Shop Starch, haven't been there. Trading Card Lounge and Magi, right? And that's Dragon Star there, right? So this is the group of stores that were involved or had tied themselves to the JTCA. Now, as you can probably deduce, it's like I said earlier, right? It's kind of weird when a group that's now lobbying to the government in Japan, lobbying for some kind of regulations, has ties to stores that, in the instance or case of Magi, right, are known to have had a lot of scandals within the Japanese Pokemon card community online because of price manipulation, basically, right? Or alleged price manipulation. And a lot of these stores sell Oripa, right? And are involved with Oripa, which a lot of Japanese Pokemon card collectors and players don't like because they feel Oripa pumps the market. It's kind of weird for a group that's going to have that enough influence to lobby to the Japanese government for some kind of regulations and legislations around trading cards, is involved in all these sketchy things, right? And so a lot of Japanese Twitter users caught onto that basically immediately, which is why I got community noted. And you'll see a lot of people are just saying, what the hell, like, who are you actually standing with? Who do you actually stand for? So we'll go through some of those so you guys can see what the hell I'm talking about. Without the participation of major game publishers like Pokemon and Konami, it won't lead to any fundamental solution. It's just a half-hearted gathering to solicit opinions and create the appearance of doing something. It's no different from doing nothing at all. I feel that. What's the point of partnering with a lame card shop? Your usual kickback scheme, huh? Get lost, trash. Fire emoji. So this is actually really funny how Twitter implemented the auto translate tool, because you just get like, that you guys have seen the fucking gem alert meme, surely. You guys have seen the meme? Have you guys seen the memes? They're just like us. They're literally just like us, but in Japan. While it's one thing to say you're pushing forward with collaboration, what I want is an explanation for why you remove the participating companies that have been listed. This is actually really funny because they're talking so much about transparency. The JTCA, they talk a lot about transparency in their tweets, but then they strip and remove all those card stores, right? All right. So you guys get the general idea, right? Excuse me for chiming in from outside the thread. Shouldn't you realize that the mere fact that there's no manufacturer's name means there's no credibility? Also, card shops are self-employed businesses, right? From a common sense perspective, the Japan Trading Card Association only invites shops to join if they're resellers. So first and foremost, I think the discussion should start after the manufacturer itself has joined. A lot of them are basically saying, yeah, we don't trust you because you guys aren't even getting involved with the major game manufacturers like Konami, Bushiroad, Bandai, and Pokemon. Why would we ever think that you're for us, right? Especially when you're partnering with all these groups that are doing all the things that we absolutely hate in the space. Oripa, price manipulation. Okay, we were looking at Vintage Card Tokyo or Valuable Card Tokyo, right? And you can see on this list that Vintage Card Japan and Valuable Card Tokyo have links to Yamakoma Asset Bank. I was watching Kuzumachi's video here because Kuzumachi, if you guys don't know, he often just, this is like a I'm not even subscribed. Am I subscribed? I am. I'm not joined. Holy shit, Kuzumachi's got 240,000 subscribers now. That's crazy. Remember when this channel just started? Kuzumachi just opens up bucket loads and bucket loads and bucket loads of cards. So it's just a channel that opens up like mass card openings, right? That's all it is. Literally over and over and over and over again. But Kuzumachi uploaded a video today or yesterday. When was it? Yesterday, right? This is Butterfingers, yeah. Talking about how he felt about this situation in Japan that's happening with the JTCA, right? And in his video, he talks about Yamakoma Asset Bank. So I clicked this link trying to understand like who's Yamakoma Asset Bank. And I ended up at this page, which is an article published by Zen and Zen Group and Zen Plus, which are companies that you may have heard of. And I did work ages ago. I actually did a sponsored video with Zen Market, like I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago, like 2023 or 2024. I can't even remember. You learn something new every day. I didn't know this, right? But Yamakoma Asset Bank. So this is a group and this is at Vintage Card Japan, right? This is a group. I'll pop the article into English for you guys to read, right? And you'll learn about them. Aiming to establish a culture of authentication both domestically and internationally, Yamakoma Asset Bank Co. Limited, the world's largest provider of authenticated trading cards, introduces the cross-border e-commerce platform Zen Plus 2024. All right, so leave it to the experts. We want to entrust Zen Plus with all... Actually, this is kind of cool. I didn't know this. Tis a moment, right? I'm going back. Mochiwa. I'd never heard of this term before. Mochiwa. Basically means if you want mochi, go to a mochi store, right? Which is a proverb that basically means leave it to the experts, essentially, right? If you want the best, go to the best. Leave it to the expert. You don't, I guess, what's a way to say that? I guess it's really weird translating Japanese proverbs into English. It makes sense. Like if you want mochi, go to the mochi store. Right? Leave it to the experts. We want to entrust Zen Plus with all aspects of our overseas expansion, says Mr. Yamaguchi of Yamakoma Asset Bank, the world's largest provider of authenticated trading cards. Yamakoma Asset Bank offers a wide selection of products and supports customers in finding the best card at a fair price. With increasing inquiries from visitors to Japan and overseas, they have started selling on the cross-border e-commerce mall Zen Plus to focus on overseas sales. We spoke with CEO Mr. Yamaguchi. All right. So Yamaguchi-san speaks a little bit about trading cards and how they've gotten more popular, and then goes on to talk about the reason behind adopting Zen Plus, and then talks a little bit about ARS as well, which I'm still trying to properly understand the link between all of this and ARS, which I'm sure, well, if you guys don't know, ARS grading. Have you guys seen ARS grading slabs? ARS puts grade on the back. It's stupid. Oh, they're the ones behind Zen Plus, and they don't count centering. I see. They want to promote authentication of cards of which they own. Sharko, you're switched on, buddy. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure most people have seen ARS slabs before, right? They're nice, right? Just another grading card grading company, I should say. I found this quite interesting. Could you tell us about the characteristics of Yamakoma Asset Bank? Yamakoma Asset Bank is the world's largest store for vintage trading cards. We primarily stock cards from the early days of trading cards around the year 2000. Cards that are already out of print and even newer cards that are 14 to 15 years old. With a grading rate exceeding 20%, we place great importance on the culture of trading card grading. In particular, we handle a large number of cards that have undergone ARS grading, Japan's first grading service. Earlier, I was talking about how the JTCA wants to ensure that Japan reaps the benefits of trading cards exploding in popularity around the world. That's not just them saying they want to benefit from what's happening in Japan. They're saying because these card games originated in Japan, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, they want Japan to capitalize on that and make the most amount of money from that as possible, to be the center, to be the hub of trading cards across the entire world. My personal feelings or opinion here, zoomed forward and then like super hot take on the situation so far, is that I think these guys don't like that PSA is like the standard, that what PSA does sets the standard for trading cards, even in Japan. Even though PSA have a grading location in Japan, they're saying that because Japanese Pokemon cards in general, originate in Japan, that Japan should be the world leader and that the grading service leader should be ARS, right? And so it's almost like this is their way of trying to make that happen, to start that, which seems like insane. Think about it. How can any grading company take the crown from PSA? Whether you like PSA or not, it's undisputed. PSA is the king of the whole grading sphere, right? It is. You can not like PSA, but then you can also recognize that PSA is the king. They're the leader. Well, I guess you should say they're the market leader. They are the leader in grading. PSA doesn't give up about your feelings. They are king. Deal with it. So this little tidbit here, we place great importance on the culture of trading card grading. In particular, we handle a large number of cards that have undergone ARS grading, Japan's first grading service. We have a unique selection that cannot be found in Nipponbashi or Akihabara. And while we have one of the largest selections in the world, we attract customers from both within Japan and overseas. This little bit here is interesting. I've received requests to purchase items via Yahoo Auctions, direct messages, and Twitter for some time now. When I actually sold to overseas customers, I found that handling international money transfers was quite difficult. Leveraging ARS's high popularity cap and the convenience of Zen Plus, we aim to differentiate ourselves in the trading card market, not only domestically, but also internationally. We want to utilize Zen Plus to leverage our strengths and expertise while establishing a competitive advantage in the global market. The reason we adopted Zen Plus is to expand our overseas sales channels. By implementing Zen Plus, we want to entrust the overseas sale process to them and ensure a smooth handling of everything, including payment procedures. So I found it really interesting that this guy was like, hang on a second, why am I buying these cards in Japan for these people on Twitter so that these people on Twitter, who I don't even know, which are most likely card stores, vendors, or people just trying to make a quick buck or a quick lot of bucks off of card grading, why the hell am I buying and exporting Japan stock so these guys can make all the fucking money? Why don't I just keep the stock, keep the cards myself here, buy them up with all the capital I've got, grade them through ARS, right? Pump up ARS, yeah, and then they can buy they can buy our cards. They can buy the ARS graded cards with the premium on them, and I will make the money. We will make the money here. Basically, submit to ARS and we'll pump in Japan soon. Trust me. So it's important to know that this is from 2024. So this was a few years ago that this guy, who I just don't want to get his name wrong, Mr. Yamaguchi-san, right? The CEO of Yamakoma Asset Bank is trying to build and grow ARS and also export these cards internationally, rather than the current situation we have now, which I've spoken about on my channel. Yeah, it's the CEO of Sex. The current situation that we have now, which is international speculators and card flippers, ripper chippers, whatever, go to Japan, buy up all the stock, take it home, either grade and sell it or flip it on live sell services and make a fucking fuck ton, right? That's why this, right, combined with what you see in this card store, which is Valuable Card Tokyo, which has links to Yamakoma Asset Bank, right? And Vintage Card Japan, which you guys can even see there, right? Right. You feel me? Explains why you see so many no rarity cards in the one cabinet. It's highly likely that all the cards that they were originally selling, that, you know, this guy was going on Twitter and selling to people that were DMing him on Twitter, right? Instead of him selling them to them now, he's probably just gone, and this group have gone, why the hell are we doing that? Let's just open a card store, because Valuable Card Tokyo hasn't always been there. This store wasn't there. I feel like this store only recently opened up last year in 2025 or like late 2024. So this store hasn't been there for a very long time. It only just popped up around about the same time this Yamakoma Asset Bank group established itself, right? So why does all that matter in the context of this JTCA situation, or this, you know, group emerging? Like I said, this guy, Yamaguchi-san, he's got ties to Valuable Card Tokyo, and what was the other store? We've got it here. Vintage Card Japan, right? All right, well, the plot thickens, because if we go to some of these other tweets, right, and we'll pull them up. There he is, Yamaguchi, right? This is Yamaguchi-san, right? The CEO of Yamakoma Asset Bank. Trust me, I can read Japanese, right? That's him there. So this is him as a representative of JTCA. This group here, or this page here, are the representatives or the members of the JTCA. And now it's the CEO of Sex himself, right? And now this list of CEOs or people involved in the project has been removed from the JTCA website. So if I go to their website, right, you just can't find it. It's not here anymore, right? I'll translate it to English for you guys. It's just gone. Yeah, it's super sus, right? Association overview, list of officers. No, they did leave it. I'm so sorry. I fake newsed you. They put it back. Well, there you go. It was apparently at some point it was removed, but they've put it back here, right? Yuji Yamaguchi, representative director of Yamakoma Asset Bank, is one of the directors of JTCA. Okay, now bear with me, okay? We're going to get an ad break. I dismissed 3 ads. I can't dismiss the ads no more. I'm so sorry, chat. Yeah, I don't see how everything connects, but it's clear that something sus is going on, isn't it? It's definitely a weird one. This guy pointed out, ARS is a domestic TCG authentication service. The operating company of ARS is AR Sales Co. Limited. Representative Mizuno is the co-representative of AR Sales, deleted from the official homepage. You revealed your true identity. So this is what got deleted. Interesting. Is it? Well, let's have a look. This is a screenshot from Minon on Twitter showing directors or representatives or a member, which is Mizuno, right? Representative Mizuno is the co-representative of AR Sales. Mizuno Shiga. AR Sales called. Okay. And then if we go back to the JTCA website, that's Yamakoma Asset Bank's website. By the way, I looked up this website and I was like, what do they do? That's it. It's just a page. It's literally just a page. So I don't know what's going on there. They must have taken it down and then added it back on. But they removed this guy, which is the guy from Hachi. Kabushiki Kaisha Hachi. Daigyo, I can't read that. There's obviously some funny business going on that has a lot of Japanese Pokemon card fans kind of like sus on the whole situation, but I don't fully understand and grasp the situation myself. There's clearly like a little bit more or a lot more investigation that needs to happen. I don't know who this representative is here that's related to this card store, supposedly, which is Card Shop Hachi. I don't know a whole lot about Card Shop Hachi, but if I was to go to their, well, they call it Card Hut. He actually has a lot of hair. Hachi, Card Shop Hachi. Yeah, see, I don't know what the vibe is on this store. 17,000 followers, but I've never been there. Where are they? They're in Osaka? I've never been there. There you go. Must be new. Is it new? I don't know. Joined February 2023. Maybe I just never went there. They're in Osaka. They are? Are they in Nipponbashi? It says they're a 2-minute walk from Number Station. Now you're just standing in here. All right, well, he's in the room. You're gonna hear Sigma. There's nothing you can do about it. He's probably confused and trying to understand who I'm talking to. There is a weird web here, right? Because the people that are involved with this JTCA have links, as you've seen, Yamakoma Asset Bank, this Yamaguchi CEO guy, to Card Shop, Valuable Card Shop Tokyo, have like basically a war chest of Japanese Pokemon cards and very expensive ones. On the record, having said that in the past, they used to buy for international audiences or international people that contacted them on Twitter, but now are deciding to do that themselves, to buy the cards, grade them within ARS and then use that as like a war chest to be like, if you want these cards, you have to buy the ARS graded cards. So there's weird links there. There's links to then him and this other guy that apparently was deleted from the website, but wasn't, according to this. Everyone's saying like, I don't get it. Like, why is this actually a problem? All of it kind of presented as for the community. So this graphic that they put up on their Twitter, I can just hear Sigma going absolutely crazy, right? This tweet here is basically an infographic that the JTCA put up saying things like problems and issues plaguing the trading card world and marketplace that they want to fix. So in this yellow box, you see stuff to do with like the flow and distribution of products and the actual marketplace. Shijo Nyutsu, so Tenbaya, which is resellers, Kaifume, which is buying up stock, Shinousu, which is like lack of stock or stock shortages. The really interesting one is this last one, which is peer-to-peer selling. And so that was what I was talking about earlier about how it's like, if I was getting supply directly from TPCI, right? And then I was selling the Pokemon cards to my buddy and like we were just making, or like I wasn't actually selling them in the store. I was using them for rip and ships, right? Making more than the MSRP on them because I was taking advantage of my supply, right? This green box talks about how they want to work to create unshin is the words that they're using in this box here. 안심, 안전한 트레이딩 카드 시장. So they're trying to create like a safe and secure trading card marketplace and like economy in Japan. That's what they're saying that they're working towards, right? In the green box, they're talking about getting on top of counterfeit cards, right? Aggravated burglary. And you've seen like a lot of card stores get broken into in Japan, right? And then the purple box talks about, and this one I found actually quite interesting, which is transparency in the marketplace. They actually talk about how they want there to be transparency in how card products on like merchandise and supply reaches card stores and then is sold, so that it's clear where the products are actually going. Because right now we have this big issue where there are card stores in Japan that get a lot of product and then they don't actually sell it. And then we're also at the same time seeing rip and shippers or people overseas. Like, now this is really awkward one. I'm not going to go on the record and say any names of specific stores, but there are really big stores in the West and in America specifically that somehow get a lot of supply of Pokemon cards. And when new sets come out, they have them very early and they are selling lots and lots of boxes. And they're very often selling them at, 3 to 4 to 5 times retail, depending on the set and how much hype there is. So that's always been this really weird thing where it's like, how are they getting so much stock? Like, it's not like it's always been really weird because it's like, how are they getting so much stock? Like, how can an international store have so many Japanese Pokemon card boxes, cases and cases of them, but they're not actually based in Japan? And we know the Japanese Pokemon cards aren't for sale outside of Japan per, the terms of the distributor. This purple box is this JTCA saying they're trying to work towards getting closer to more transparency so that everybody can see and understand the flow and distribution of product. So these are all fantastic things, right? Because a lot of people, like when I'm saying this earlier, right? When you see those headlines saying that they're moving to regulate the Pokemon card space and stop scalpers and stop counterfeit cards, those are all fundamentally really good things that we need to be working towards that would benefit the hobby entirely. And that's what the JTCA here are presenting and saying that they are doing when they are going and literally getting in front of Japanese parliament and the Diet and saying, because they presented to them yesterday, this all happened really, really quickly. These are all fantastic things. But them saying that when they have so many ties to all these really sus card stores, like you're seeing in this list, like, and I wouldn't say Dragonstar is sus, but I mean, they do a little of the Oripa, right? But I guess the good thing about Dragonstar is they don't sell booster boxes at inflated prices. But card stores like Magi, who sell booster boxes at inflated prices, card stores like Card On, as you guys saw in those tweets, selling new release sets of One Piece at market price, right? Valuable Card Tokyo that have these war chests, that have these links to ARS grading. It's hard to really trust and believe that the JTCA has the best interests of the card collecting space in mind when they have such a weird background. It's essentially like GameStop, right? And I gotta be really careful about the verbiage I use, but like GameStop don't exactly have the greatest image amongst Pokemon card collectors because, when the UPC got revealed, within a day or two, they were selling it for $600, right? Which is 3 times retail, right? The whole GameStop power packs, there are people that like them, and then there are a lot of collectors that think it's not great. And so it's like if GameStop all of a sudden was saying, hey, we're going to create this organization that is going to protect Pokemon card collectors and players. We've got the best interests of players in mind. We've got the best interests of collectors in mind. And we're going to work to create a more sustainable and engaged community, and we're going to grow the culture of Pokemon cards together. But the people spearheading that group are GameStop and then other really sus, they have like checkered history. Like PSA have their checkered history of doing sus things. Like the stuff with the lenticular Deoxys or that guy's Pikachu that they just lost and then all of a sudden they found and they offered him a lower buyback price, right? Companies that don't have a lot of goodwill, right? That's a great word. Thank you for saying that word. It's like the Avengers decide to fucking get created around protecting Pokemon card collectors in the US, and it's being spearheaded by GameStop, PSA, BGS, and whatnot, right? There you go. And it's like, okay, they probably could do like, I don't know, 10 things that would help Pokemon card collectors, but given their history of doing really sus stuff that aren't in the interest of Pokemon card collectors, it's highly likely that if they were to get in front of the Senate or the House of Representatives in the US, or like be able to legislate or lobby, right, for Pokemon card collectors, it's highly likely that they are going to lobby in their favor in a way that they are going to benefit from. It's not certain, but it's fair speculation to say, look, it's kind of likely, or I have doubts about whether they truly have the best interest in collectors in mind, or whether they have their own interest in mind purely. So that's what this JTCA is kind of projecting for Japanese Pokemon card collectors right now. And that's why it's not as simple as this tweet from Unusual Whales that says Japan is considering regulating the market for Pokemon cards per Bloomberg, and then Dexerto saying that they are launching a government team to fight scalpers and fake cards in popular card games. Like I said, they aren't doing anything yet. This is just a group that yesterday got in front of them, presented their opinions, right? And the things that they want to change. And that's it so far. None of this has actually happened, but it's brewing. And who knows where it goes, but the people behind it have weird ties that are kind of sus. And that's kind of the long and short of it. There's a lot to sift through, and I need to go and spend a good fucking week basically going down this rabbit hole. But I felt like it was important enough to talk about early with you guys. And so that's why I kind of wanted to untangle it all here on the stream together with you guys today.